Hachi, hachi. Mm-hmm. Nugget. What a sweetie. All right. And then there's me. Not a sweetie. Morning. Hello, chat. All right, let's see. Yeah, I remember when we were thinking that last chapter was 6,000 words, and it wound up being like 3,200. What a laugh. All right, let me fix up this old date. In just 20 days, we have blazed through 300 pages of this story, which means that we only have about 200 left, the way that this is formatted here. So we're better. I mean, at 36 chapters, once you get to 40, we're 2/3 of the way through. So 4 more chapters to be at 2/3. Let me alert the internet. If there's something outside that you want to say, I would be alright. I would be okay. Alright. I have no friends online at this time because I don't use this account. I use the one where I can say all the nonsense. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Editing has begun. Let me see if anybody is even awake. Hello, this moment. Okay, there we go. I think that's good. Hi, is this a gay chat? Well, you would know better than anyone. What's going on, CJ? I'm very sorry to hear that you did not find your missing dog. I hope she's all right somewhere. But yeah, this is a heartbreaker here. Yeah, this is the child is very sick part of the thing. So just FYI, if you don't want to run through the particulars of a boy going through leukemia treatment, this may not be the move. But you know you better than me. So let me see. Let me see if anybody else is gonna wake up. I see Logic must be alive. Let me add a tang. All right, and then I bet the person that he banned is complaining to me. No, doesn't even care. Let me see. All right, let me see here. I'm coming, says Logic. All right, cool. I want to get a little into it. I'm up so late today, by the way. I should have been editing for hours already. Eraser is up. Yeah, but Eraser can't edit, you know? Eraser is a vegan metalhead, right? I don't want that poison around my my story. All right, let me see. Hold on. Who was bothering me? Let's see. Okay. I wonder how easily I could get access. No, not easily at all. All right. Well, we wasted enough time already. All right. Hey, my name is ZachZYZ, and let's begin this stream. I wonder if I should have made an intro image for this so people knew when it was starting off. People seem to really like the one that we repeated over and over for Gravid, but I don't think I made a similar one for whatever. Anyhow, I'll begin. This is chapter 36. What's going on in the story is after an amazing weekend of gaming and adventure and so forth, Robin attends the doctor on Monday, and he finds out that his white blood cell count is through the roof, which is never good. So he previously had acute lymphoid leukemia and underwent chemotherapy for it. And after the conclusion of that, Reiner is in. So after that leukemia, this is good. It pulls me into shadow because I'm backlit. A neat trick. Um, so in any case, what he finds out is that his cancer has returned, and it has returned as a much more dangerous form of cancer, acute myeloid leukemia, which is something generally elderly people get. And when young people get it, it's often, well, I shouldn't say often, because it's still very rare. It can sometimes be the result of what's called a lineage shift, which is where, for reasons that were not understood in 1979 when the story was set, sometimes the particular blood cell that, or the precursor to the blood cell that is cancerous, shifts from one thing to another. And what we later found out is like cancer can like shift up its whole DNA to deal with certain types of chemotherapy and so forth. And in some cases, the mutagens in the chemotherapy can like actively trigger this particular phenomenon. It's pretty wild. So chemotherapy treatment is brutal, especially more so in like 1979 when this is set. And it continues to just be terrible for people experiencing this all over the world today. I really didn't know about any of this until I started researching for this story. Praise Allah, I've not had leukemia. Don't want to get it. Sounds bad. It's not cool. And if your friends are pressuring you to get leukemia, just tell them, just say no. All right, anyhow. Let's begin. So, chapter 36. And so, with chapter 36, we get into the part of this novel that is supposed to be beautiful, right? We're not telling a fantasy story now. We are really trying to get into that higher realm of storytelling where people come away with something that is enduring and that means something to them, which is like a lofty aspiration for a hack science fiction writer. But anyhow, that's what we're aiming at there. So this is a point where, as you're trying to enter, let's just call that the realm of. That sounds real pretentious, whatever I say there. But as we try to get to that higher plane of writing or whatever, the chances that I will like try to climb up that ladder and not quite make it there are high. And just the chance of something being like trite or not landing or falling flat become much higher. And also the writing becomes much more subjective there. So it's important for me to get takes from people where they're like, oh, that doesn't land, or that sounds hokey, or whatever, that doesn't make sense. But at the same time, I have to be true to my own self and keep the things that I really care about in there. It's, like the thing about writing is it's much more collaborative than other artwork that I'm, like, I guess music, you're playing in a band, but, well, I guess all stuff really relies on the interpretation of the viewer, but writing more so because they are taking that abstract step where they're taking words on a page and hallucinating it and assigning their own meaning and so forth to it. And I feel like writing is, a little bit more than a representative painting or a song or what have you there. The person has to do more work. And that's why I'm right, because I'm lazy. After I've been doing this every day for 2.5 years to get this story up. The windows faced north and could not be opened. Well, past the 3 Lombardy poplars, Robin could see the rise of Sandia Pueblo, where he'd ridden the Telerifico with his mother so long ago. So, I believe I researched this, and the cable car on Sandia Pueblo did exist at the time of the story. Although what I didn't do was make sure that his mother was alive during the time that was happening. So let's find out. Mm-hmm. The Sandia Peak. Okay, so this is a mess up here. So instead of Sandia Pueblo, this should be Sandia Peak. All right. And the tramway was open in 1961 which means that so Robin Martillo, just doing math here, 1979. He is wow. So he um I can't math at all. So that means he was born in 1966. So it'd been open for like 5 years um, before he was born. All right, cool. Telerifico. That's an important thing to pick up. So this had just opened up. Logic was born in 1969. No, so he's 13 in the story and is 79, which means that he was born in 66. Born on a bayou. Yeah, it says his age early on in the story, like in letters and words and stuff. It's not just implied. Yeah, 10 years old. It would be really weird for him to say some of the things that he's saying. He would be creepy. Mm. And I like that nobody can ship him because he's completely androgynous due to drugs. And we don't have to worry about any of that nonsense. In the trees, grackles clashed with crows. Every so often, a raven flew over and scattered them all. As a watermelon dawn washed over Albuquerque. So Sandia is a watermelon, by the way. Sandia Peak is Watermelon Mountain. Robin watched the blackbirds squabble in the boughs. He peered at the hills. Pacing. As the watermelon dawn washed over Albuquerque, Robin watched the blackbirds squabble in the boughs. He peered out at the hills and daydreamed of another world just over the mountains. Some hawk-eyed ranger would smile and spirit him through an ancient forest. In a sacred glade, a pure-hearted paladin could lay on hands, and take his pain away. He could lead his ragtag... Oh, I kind of want a comma there. He could lead his ragtag army to an impossible victory in a realm where no one had ever heard of a bedpan or an IV machine. Maybe, another world just over the mountains. Yeah, I was just looking at that. Also. Another world just... Yeah, I think that's a comma. Let's see if the machine agrees. Machine spirit, I invoke you. In the name of the God Emperor of Man. Mm-hmm. If there's something outside that you want to say... No, the sentence does not need a comma. It is written perfectly, just as is. So saith the machine spirit. Wait. I just need you guys to be aware of something that's going on right here. Oh. She's the sweetest. A very sleepy dog. Alright. It's important that you saw that was going on. Some hawk-eyed ranger would smile and she she likes anything she can sleep on. He could lead his ragtag army to an impossible victory in a realm where no one had ever heard of a bedpan or an IV machine. That needs a comma. No, actually, do we need that? So this is the thing. Like, I'm very leery about or clauses at the end of a sentence because I think we learned that you don't really need that. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it turns out you do not need this one. So we're linking two closely related items with a simple or. A short two-item list like this, a comma, is grammatically incorrect and creates an awkward halting pause at the end of the sentence. So saith the machine. Mm-hmm. The rescue never came. Una was there instead. I like the kind of rolling diction of this now. Una was there instead, in her yellow paper gown, every second of visiting hours. The nurses warned her not to hold his hand. She had to sit 6 feet away, just to be safe. It was strange at first, but they quickly grew used to it. When they ran out of things to say, they would both read. Magazines were forbidden. Books had to be sterilized with ethylene oxide in a little oven. They were baked just hot enough to kill mold spores, but not melt the binding. His diario was the same. They took it away and ran it through the oven. He worried, Robin worried about the singed smell, but it seemed fine otherwise. When his absolute neutrophil count dropped and the real isolation began, they would have to take everything away. It seemed crazy that things could still get worse. The 3 days of Down-O-Rubicin were so awful he was afraid to think about them. Well, let's try that again. It seemed crazy that things could still get worse. The 3 days of Down-O-Rubicin were so awful he was afraid to think about them. The 3 days of Down-O-Rubicin were so awful, Robin was afraid to think about them afterward. A few times his mind wandered to the wrong place and he got caught. His whole body locked up, and he had to push the thoughts away. A bill he couldn't pay. Okay, so we have a comma there rather than, this is almost a colon here. I think we put in the word like a bill he couldn't pay, but we can't use like a bill he couldn't pay because he's 13. He doesn't have bills, right? So for some reason to me, like using a metaphor works a little better there than using a simile. It may be too hokey. Let's see. Machine spirit, answer my query. No, it does not need a colon. One option, the M dash. Yeah, the comma. Yeah, this I don't want to use an M dash there. I do not like M dashes for aside. I like them for interruptions. Oh, sweet dog pet. All right. Yeah, and I have not heard from your amigo, Grandma Slippy, but we really are editing a bunch of the. Mm-hmm. It was the only safe thing to think about was the campaign. So I like this a lot. I like where, so we described the treatment, like kind of like how horrific it is, and there's a point where he just like shuts down and is nearly comatose and so forth. And we know that he has to do that 3 times. This is, it's called a 3-7 chemotherapy, where you have 3 days of Down-O-Rubicin and 7 days of cytarabine, where the cytarabine is given in a continuous drip, like 24 hours a day. So I don't know how they came up with some of this stuff because it's all poison, you know, really hardcore poison. A lot of this, but another world just over the mountains. Do we already look for this? Oh yeah, we did look for it, and it didn't work. Okay. I'm uh, I'm way behind. All right. The 3 blister packs of reinforcements were still unopened. Robin had arranged the miniatures in a line along the windowsill so he could look at them whenever he wanted. After the second treatment, Abaxios Osloon was joined by Sufferin the Mastersmith. On the third day, Una gave him Charinge the Bard, a horseman with a lute and a dashing cape. Each of the 3. Each new model fit perfectly into his army. Robin couldn't wait to paint his troops and see his friends again. 2 days after the Dauna Rubicin ended, he felt clear enough to pay. That should be Robin. No, it shouldn't be because we use Robin like a. Robin couldn't wait to paint his new troops and see his friends again. 2 days after the Dauna Rubicin ended, he felt clear enough to play chess again. The board wouldn't fit in the ethylene oven, so the nurses gave them a laminated sheet with the board printed on it. So the nurses gave them a laminated sheet of paper with the board printed on it. Robin called out his plays, and Una made his move. So all this ethylene and so forth is like because he has essentially what they're wiping out are the components of his white blood cells, right? So at this time, he has, as this goes on, he's not there yet, but he's going to get to a place where he has functionally no immune system, and it just becomes impossible for him to like fight off things like mold spores and stuff like that. Like the chance of him getting like worm lung or like mold in his lungs or like crazy fungal infections and so forth is incredibly high. So they have to do this strict isolation routine because he has nothing in him to fight it off. Because what the treatment is doing is just destroying all the marrow in his bones, right? Like if you look at the marrow, it's like a kind of like a wasteland of just dead jelly, um, and hoping that when it comes back, he's like it's without the cancerous cells. That's the game plan. It's rough, bro. Um, the board wouldn't fit in the ethylene oven, so the nurses gave them a laminated sheet of paper with the board printed on it. Let's call it the grid. So the nurses gave them a laminated sheet of paper with the grid printed on it. Robin called out his plays, and Una made his moves. Let's say Una made the moves. Robin called out his plays, and Una made the moves. He lost the first three games badly. He lost the first 3 games badly. He got his head together and won the next 3 in a row. Una still punished his weak openings and all the moves he hadn't thought through. Near the end of the week of cytarabine, his eyes started to... So, cytarabine is spelled right. Near the end of the week, his eyes started to itch all the time. His vision grew blurry and saline drops crusted his lashes. Eventually, he gave up on sight. Eventually, Robin had to give up on seeing. He shut his eyes and tried to fix the positions in his mind. Playing blind, Una could clobber him, but he got stronger every game. He needed to enjoy this while he could. The crash was coming. The room had a good view, but Robin was never awake to see the sunset. The drugs hit him hard. Slowly, his dreams syncopated to the thump of the IV pump. He would wake up and feel trapped. He learned he couldn't fidget too much, or the occlusion alarm would go off and someone would come. So there's one where, let's see if we need a comma after or. I believe that it does not. Yeah. Stalls a sentence and creates an unnatural pause. Okay. I feel like in the back of my mind, it's like, oh, you're supposed to have an or, a comma, like before or, because, or whatever there, but I agree with myself. He'd learned he couldn't fidget too much or the occlusion alarm would go off and someone would come. All he could do was turn his head to look out the window at the stars. Yeah. They were bright, even through the conjunctivitis. The stars were bright, even through the conjunctivitis. Vega and Altair joined with Deneb to make the Navigator's Triangle in the northeast. Polaris rode low in the north, and Algo flickered at the end of the northwest horizon. A ruby line of radio towers winked along the mountains, just as unreachable as the stars above. Robin would know them well. He was stuck in this ward for a whole month. Robin got to know them all very well. Doesn't work. Hmm. He got to know them all so well. What I want to say is he just memorizes this because every night he's stuck watching this. The lights burned into his memory. He was stuck in this ward for a whole month. Fevered days bled into hollow nights. The medication rolled Robin in waves and left him floating in dull yellow doldrums where nothing mattered much. When he tried to read, his eyes rolled off the page. He looked at the unpainted birds in the shoebox. Oh, I think I wrote this while I was whacked on codeine and recovering from surgery. Just adding a little reality to the situation. He looked at the unpainted birds in the shoebox and wondered why he'd ever tried. Why was there so much time? The days were glaciers. The stars were drifting apart in a drawn-out heat death. He wrote about it in his diario, but he could only manage one line at a time. When he looked over his words, he couldn't understand himself. Love this paragraph. Yeah, everything about that is perfect to me. After the cytarabine was complete, it got harder and harder to sleep. Robin could only truly rest when Una was there to watch over him. She was there every day without fail. The sores in his mouth burned when he tried to talk. Una grew tired of the silence. The next day, she brought in a fresh-baked hospital Bible. She began to read aloud at Genesis. It had been a long time since she'd worked as an announcer, but her voice was still strong. Robin waited for her to slip up and stumble on a phrase. If she ever made a mistake, he didn't hear it. And you can hear me, what have I been an announcer for 30 years, constantly stumbling on things. But at the same time, I'm not just reading, I'm thinking. I think if I was just reading this off, I could get to the point where I was like making one error every page and then every 2 pages, and get to the point where I could have a mellifluous flow. And also, I would use a different microphone than this one. I'm not happy with this mic, actually. I dreamed of having this Neumann BCM 705 for my whole life. And then I got it, and I'm like, I like the RE20 better. Really spoiled for choice. It's an expensive microphone. But yeah, it's not as good as the 20, and I'm using it stubbornly. You know, it would be great, honestly, if this was like a climate controlled area and I didn't have like a generator rumbling and a fan going and a whatever going, because it really does sound good. But it just picks up like too much. Here, let me show you. It picks up too much of this, right? And to me, it actually sounds really good with the voice, but it because it is a condenser microphone, it's just picking up too much of the background, right? And there's actually, like, I think inside of it there's a 20 decibel pad switch that's even going. So if I flick that off, you would get even more of the background noise and so forth. This is a microphone for a recording studio, and I wanted it because, you know, I like think of myself as a fancy recording studio guy. And then we just got to clamp down on the gate so you can't hear that, and then you hear the background come in like these little swatches of infuriating noise and so forth. Now, you don't get the same thing in the RE20. You get a little bit of it, but yeah, really, I would love it if I sold a lot of books here and I could just build a really good recording space that was pin drop silent, away from all the people in my life that are not pin drop silent. I need like a shack. But, you know, big dreams. Tiny soldiers. It's not bad. It's not bad to you, right? But it's bad to me. And very distracting and so forth. I just, you know. And the other show, too. The other show sounds great, right? As we put a lot of time into it and we try really hard. Okay. Robin wished she would read him something else, but he didn't have the will to ask. It seemed important to her. Soon enough, he didn't even hear the words, just the sound and the cadence. Shout out to everybody watching on Twitch TV, where they're not hearing a word that I'm saying, just the sound and the cadence. It's some percentage of all my life I've been broadcasting to an audience that is half like stoned out of their mind and just listening for the sounds coming out of my mouth, not the meaning behind them. And I'm happy with that. That is actually quite freeing to me. Half of the people, you can just say whatever you want. There are 0 readers, by the way, that are just reading for the sight of the words that are on the page. All the words have to be good. They will stop as soon as they're bad. A few will plow through, but not many. Robin wished she would read him something else, but he didn't have the will to ask. It seemed important to her. Soon enough, he didn't even hear the words, just the sounds and the cadence. Each verse was a step down a long kind of want to comment. Down a long spiral stair. Long spiral stair. That, at the bottom of the well, he fell asleep. Okay, cool. So, normally, at the bottom of the well, you couldn't use at the bottom of the well there. Okay. At the bottom of the well, he fell asleep. Una would have never left if the nurses didn't make her. Visiting hours always ended too soon, and when they were through, the nights dragged forever. Some commotion always arose. A blinking light, a clattering tray. Once a scream that woke up the whole ward. No one would tell him what it was. The nurses were everywhere, always pressing him, checking him, chiding him if he tried to do anything. Unkind thoughts sprang up constantly, but he was too weak to spit them out. They smoldered inside his chest, of no use to anyone. Ooh. And there's some paragraphs here that are really doing it for me. This is what I wanted the story to be about. This is what I really like. On the 10th day, he crashed. The drugs burned away everything in his marrow and left a wasteland of profound aphasia. At the nadir, his neutrophil count was almost nil. He woke in an isolation room, burning up inside. Uno wasn't there, and his diario was gone. The room was bare. No birds, no brushes, nothing. No. Yeah. The room was bare. No birds. No, I don't like that either. Yeah, just this is something that needs to change in the English language. Like the need for this to be. Yeah. So this is a stylistic sentence. Let's take a look. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, let's just do mo birds, no brushes, nothing. Mo money, mo problems. The room was bare. No birds, no brushes, nothing. Robin hit the call button in a panic and a nurse swept in. The nurse swept in. His face was hidden in a mask, but his eyes were annoyed. What happened? Where's my grandma? Robin rasped. His throat was raw. His mouth felt like it had been scalded. You need to rest. She'll be back soon. Por favor, mi diario. Please, my diary, Robin groaned. They would not give him back his diario. Instead, he got an injection that closed over him like a fist. When he shut his eyes, he was sure he would never open them again. I'm gonna suggest a colon. Yeah, I don't like a colon there. I'd rather just do the bup bup. I like never want to have like this advanced punctuation in something where we're like trying to be evocative and so forth. All that stuff. Because like, how many people know like what work a colon is supposed to do in a story? Like modern readers, like 15%, and the rest are just going off like gut instinct. I'm not in that 15%, right? There's a gulf between sort of like some of these archaic pronunciation or punctuation concepts and like what modern readers actually care about and so forth. These are people raised on the internet, and pretty soon, AI will kind of like. All right, hold on. It's important that we take a look at what's happening over here. Oh, you're so sweet. Dog watcher. But yeah, AI is going to like codify and enshrine a lot of these things that don't make any sense anymore. But I think it'll be faster at adapting in real time. Like you were very close to all the annoying AI things, those just being the default because everybody is using AI to do their thinking for them. That's crazy and creepy, really and truly. Hold on, let me check on something here. So it shows a bunch of people are watching this, but that can't actually be true, is my theory. No. Yeah, we pick up like 10 or 15 phantom viewers, but they're just bots. It's just you and me, buddy. Really and truly. But that may be all that we need. Because I notice once I get like 10 or 20 people into the stream or whatever, I just, I'm not doing as good of an editing. I'm paying attention to them, trying to interact and so forth. When it's just one person or 2 or 3 people, like that's where the real work gets done. All right, so we change POV here to Una. right? And then we do this in a chapter break. It was a close thing. For 2 days, the fever was so high. Oh, no, no, we stayed with Robin. It was a close thing. For 2 days, the fever was so high that Robin hovered above himself as a semi-present projection. Pain tried to shiver up the silver astral line, but it was no more than a telegraph from a faraway war. Una wasn't allowed in the isolation room. She sat on the other side of the visiting window and spoke to him through the telephone. She looked worried. Robin wanted to reassure her. Yeah, we don't need that. We know that she looks worried. I have 2 clients open since Angie's sleeping, one for sound and one for typing. Mm-hmm. But the drugs blunted his tongue. The pain was bad, but being helpless was so much worse. He couldn't talk or stay awake for more than an hour, or even go to the bathroom. He couldn't talk or stay awake for more than an hour, or even go to the bathroom by himself. The nurses did everything and treated him like an overgrown baby. If there was any way out, he would have taken it. It was days before he started to feel like himself again. Visiting hours were in 2 sessions, from 1 to 3 and 6 to 8 p.m. This is a colon. From 1 to 3 p.m. and from 6 to 8 p.m. Una never missed one, not even when he was asleep. We say like a bunch of times that she never misses a session. And that's fine. Una was always there, even when he was asleep. You look a bit better. You look a bit better, Una said. I feel a bit better. The words ground together like a mouthful of olive pits. He pushed through. He needed to talk. Robin pushed through. He needed to talk. How's the food? Awful. Everything tastes like it was strained through a sock. All the cups and plates are styrofoam. I guess they just burn them up. When I'm done. Can you see a blue card on my door? Yes. That's for protective isolation. The room is under positive pressure to protect me from the environment. The regular isolation rooms are under negative pressure to protect everyone from the patients. Wait, hold on. Visiting hours were in 2 sessions, from 1 to 3 p.m. and from 6 to 8 p.m. Look at how easily we can fix this. I'll give you a point. I don't think the 2 froms was like a big deal, but from. We'll just out of an abundance of caution. We'll take a look at this dog. Oh. That's all that really matters in the world, boys. Everything else is just Ooh, so you're up at 24, and we can put you 2 over Agatha, who is sleeping in. Not editing as he's supposed to be. I'm really astonished that I'm not picking up more traction, either here or on Royal Road, because I honestly think that this story is better than some of the other ones that we were doing, but almost no interest in people in reading it. So I changed the advertisement that we were using on Royal Road, and I gave it this shiny new cover, which I think the new cover looks great. I might change that blue line a little bit. But overall, like I'm pretty happy with the new cover and stuff like that. But yeah, like response to a few things changed too. One, Royal Road got much more popular, so my advertisements have much less of an impact because there's more people. More people are ad blocking. The recent Google changes have just moved a lot of users over to Brave. Um, and I'm not spamming the JRE Discord like I used to every morning because people were complaining about it. So not a lot going on, but yeah, I'm surprised that more people aren't reading this book to check it out because I think the story is pretty good. But it may just be that the story is really good for me and is not good for anybody else. Which I have many books over here that were the same, but I still dream. That's for protective isolation. The room is under positive pressure to protect me from the environment. This room is under positive pressure to protect me from the environment. The regular isolation rooms are under negative pressure to protect everyone from the patients. The yellow card is the most dangerous. It's for stuff like pneumonic plague, both airborne. Which is both airborne and infectious through contact. The brown one is for cholera. Ha ha. Very funny. The nurses say you're talking everyone's ear off. It's lonely in here. Maybe I could see if some of your friends could come visit you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the joke logic. I can see if some of your friends can come visit you, Una offered. Ni hablar. No way. I don't want the guys to see me like this. Please don't let them come here. You'll change your mind in a bit, Una said. You'll change your mind in a bit, Una assured him. Tita, I mean it. Promise me you won't, Robin pressed. I promise. I only want to help. Can you do me a favor? Thank you. Can you do me a favor? Name it. Could you check at the nurse's station and make sure my diario is okay? I keep worrying someone will throw it out. Of course. I already told the head nurse it's doomsday if they lose it. I'll check and make sure. Mm-hmm. Of course. I already told that head nurse it's doomsday if they lose your diario. I'll check and make sure it's safe. No lo leas. Don't read it, Robin insisted. Claro que no. Claro que no. Of course not, Una promised. She brought his composition book and showed it to him through the window. There was a note taped to the front. Do not discard. Robin Martillo, ISO Room 2. Robin sighed with relief and mouthed gracias at the glass. Before he knew it, he was asleep. So this is where we Oh no, this is a Robin chapter still. The days marched on. The fire sputtered out, but the smoke between his ears was slow to clear. Robin and Una had long since run out of things to say. In a long patch of silence, Una asked if he felt up to a chess game. Not today, I'm sorry, Robin shook his head. Oh, are you tired of winning? I suppose we could continue reading the Bible. We're halfway through Chronicles, and so Chronicles is the most boring book in the Bible, by far. Perdón, abuela. Me pesa mucho Perdón, abuela. Me pesa mucho la cabeza. No puedo entenderle el libro sagrado ahorita. Sorry, Grandma. I'm too foggy. I can't give the good book the attention it deserves. Una's laugh barked from the receiver. Ay, pararito, ponte las botas. Ya hay mucho lodo. Ha! Put on your boots, little bird. It's getting deep in here. Caught out, Robin raised his palms. He was careful not to tug out the IV. Remember, tomorrow is Sunday. I'll be at San Felipe for Mass, then I need to run an errand after. I'm not sure I'll be through in time for the 1 p.m. I'm not sure if I'll be finished in time for the 1 p.m. I'll still be here for the second session. I remember. Sunday. I remember, Robin said. Sundays were when Duncan called. I feel bad leaving you alone, Una frowned. Tita, you've been here every day. It's fine. I'm not going anywhere. Well, I wish I could do more. Well, I wish I could do more. You're fighting so hard and I can't bring you food or books or anything. All I have to offer is my company. I'll be so happy when this part is over. One more week in this room. It's weird. My hands almost ache to have something to do. I would wash dishes if I could. Aye. I'll remember that when you're back home. I'll remember you said that when we're back home. Remember, your numbers have to be good for them to let you out. You need to rest and obey the nurses. I'm trying. I know. They spoke a bit more. Una warned that Mrs. Silva would visit soon. Una warned that Mrs. Silva would visit soon, and Robin needed to be polite. The medical social worker was very important. She was the reason why the telephone fee for Robin's room was waived. Without her, it would be $1.50 per day. She'd requested a television, too, but they didn't have a working set to spare. She'd requested a free television, too, but they didn't have a working set to spare. Una and Robin agreed that 6 birds a day to use the phone was highway robbery. Mountain Bell only charged Una $8 for a whole month. Mountain Bell only charged Una $8 per month. Do you remember Mountain Bell? How that must have been around when you were a kid, right, Logic? Wait, no, you weren't on Hawaii back then, though. No way. I think didn't you do time in Navajo country? You would have had Mountain Bell at some point, wherever you were at. Although I don't know, maybe you're like a Hawaiian native. I do not know the Logic lore. Well, don't dox yourself on the TV, but I would assume that this was around when you were a kid. So I remember Southern Bell and Western Bell and all the bells. And I remember Mountain Bell too. I think they had it on Denver. No, I am suitably impressed about Mountain Bell. I did so much research for this thing, bro. Mountain Bell only charged Una to $8 a month. By the way, this $8 a month, that was what they had a special price for seniors that she would have gotten back then. I didn't move to Hawaii till the later half of the OOs. All right. In the middle of their collective outrage, Robin was caught by a big yawn. Sorry, Robin apologized. Please, don't leave. Rest. I'll be here when you wake, Una promised. It wasn't even 3 p.m. Robin drowsed and dreamed of tiny armies. So, one of the most important chapters in this book is chapter 36. Let me see. Oh, what's up, Curl Wickstrom? Welcome to the deal. Yeah, I will be doing this every day until it's finished. If we can do 2 chapters a day, it'll be another 15 or 16 days. Let's see. 36. So, yeah, this is Royal Road, where if you're new, this is like a place where you can post episodic fiction. I tell you what I wanted to do. Oh, wow, nobody looked at, not even I viewed chapter 35. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, I used to get numbers of like 100 people gandering upon these. I need to do some outreach. Also thinking about, I'm also thinking about, what was it? Somebody was telling me like, it wasn't the Medium, it was like, Substack or something like that. I should be posting on there. I might try that one out and see, just try a few more of these things. Because if we're posting to one, we might as well do the others and see if we can. All right, do I have time to do another chapter? I don't know if we have time to do another chapter this morning before I have to get to. Well, you know what? We can probably sneak in another hour. Let's try it. Okay. So the chapter has been published. There we go. So once again, if you have a chance and you are loving the story and want me to post more chapters there, join up on Royal Road, sign up for a completely free account, browse through the story, and then 5-star it. And leave a review about how I Me Too'd you or something like that. And if I haven't yet, just give me time. So let's try chapter 37 here. I think it's a fantasy chapter, and I think it may be super long. And I think it may be jarring. So, hold on, let me look at how long this is. 310 to. Oh no, this is fine. It's short. Chapter 37. The reconciler had 1,000,000 spies in his employ. He paid them peanuts. Great troughs of goobers, suet, and seed were set out in rows along the edge of the moon gate. The vista was a sacred place, carved high into the side of Blag Mountain. An observer could look past the half-built ramparts to watch the Viridian River snake through the misty valley below. Once, the dwarves used this soaring overlook to conduct rites and imbue blades with the perfect temperament of moonlight. Now, it was a way station for great flocks of now it was a way station for great flocks of red-breasted blackbirds. Well fed, they took wing and flew to every corner of the world. From on high, they spied. And so we're changing up that so we don't develop a pattern. Because I didn't well fed, then from on high, and so forth. I don't intentionally have a pattern there. They spied every battle from on high, from the smallest skirmishes to titanic clashes. This is a semicolon. From the smallest. Oh no. No, it's not. Because from the smallest skirmishes to titanic clashes is a dependent clause. Afterward, they flew back to perch on Bobbert's shoulder and warble all they'd seen. Soon the reconciler knew every maneuver in misfortune, every tactic in triumph. Soon the reconciler knew their every maneuver in misfortune, every tactic in triumph. Soon, the reconciler knew every maneuver in misfortune, every tactic in triumph of every army in the realm. It's badass. I like that He's a bird man. I swear I've got like birds in every single story. I'm gonna turn into one of those middle-aged bird watching people. I don't understand what it is about whites where the second they flip over from 50 years old, like birds are the most amazing thing to them. I guess they represent freedom and youth and the ephemeral or something like that. I don't know, but everybody's all about birds, and I think it's something that is tied in more to the modern era. Although I guess we had like Audubon and people like that way back in the day. For the Heartbroken Brigade, it had been a grueling campaign of slow marches. For the Heartbroken Brigade, the time after their triumph in the Boer had been a grueling campaign of slow marches. Again and again, they arrived too late to save the day. No longer. Hmm. For the Heartbroken Brigade, the time before their triumph in the Boer had been a grueling campaign of slow marches. Again and again, they arrived too late to save the day. No longer. Guided by the reconciler, the young general sent his scant forces to strike where his foes were weakest. Again and again. They arrived at the perfect time and shattered forces twice their size. They arrived at the perfect time. They always They always arrived at the perfect time and unfailingly shattered forces. Let's do smashed. They always arrived at the perfect time and regularly smashed forces twice their size. No ambush could catch them, no army could match them. The Gore Lords suffered the worst. The brave souls who fell in the stand at Shattermine were avenged tenfold. Oh, I forgot. I did like the stand at Shattermine. Although I don't think we officially called the battle that, but I don't know if we included like all the stuff. Brackakak back howled for revenge. The Sorcerer Supreme massed his Gorelord goblins and besieged the half-built fortress at Black Boar. Though they outnumbered the Heartbroken Brigade 10-1, the Gorelord played right into Bobbert's hand. The undisciplined goblins broke against stout dwarven shields and merciless imperial pikes. A whirlwind of curses screamed across the field and sputtered against the reconciler's will. On the plane of ideals, two arcane minds clashed. Brackakak back quit the field, squealing like a sow. Word of the 10-1 victory spread quickly. On his swift steed Melodia, Charinge the Bard rode across the realm and sang tales of the Heartbroken Brigade. Soon, everyone knew of the doom of Dagbel Odell, the miracle at Macamil, the return of Abaxios Loon, and the Battle of Eravitramor. Yeah, it's dope that we like have gone through all the at this point in the book we've gone through like all these cool conflicts, and now bards are starting to like ride around singing of their exploits, and this is all like a mythos that we've built up. Like all this stuff, all these characters and so forth, they're just sprang like directly out of my head. Yeah, honestly, like I was thinking in the middle of the night because I was so excited to edit this that I woke up in the middle of the night and then couldn't get back to sleep and then left myself with like no time to edit. Thanks, brain. And then I have to do dumb stuff this morning. But yeah, I was really thinking about like how difficult it would be to flip this over to just be completely like a Games Workshop property. Would not be hard at all. Like maybe a month of rewriting to just put it in tune with their particular mythos and just maneuver all the units to the stuff that they're trying to sell. Because it really is like leans pretty heavily on sort of a collective fantasy mythos that like all these properties pull from a little bit. But anyhow, but the thing is, they're very insular at Games Workshop. Like you cannot just write to an editor or pitch them or anything like that. They only work with people that they know, and their quality's not great on their like all of their writing. It's pretty hacky, a lot of it. You know, I should know because I'm pretty hacky myself. But I do wonder if I could get this in front of the eyes of like somebody who was an editor at Black Library or something like that. I wonder if they would take a bite on it there, but they don't usually do this kind of like crossover type thing. They're mainly just space wolves fighting with tyrannids and smooching each other. Anyhow, intrigued, soldiers and adventurers trekked for leagues and leagues to see the battlefield where the Diamond Drake was slain. We don't need the other leagues. Trekked for leagues to see the battlefield where the Diamond Drake was slain. They continued north through Goblin Country, eager to witness the thousand-scarred hide of Burback Breakbow. I wonder why they're so closed off. Well, one, they get an avalanche of everybody's like, well, I could write those stories and so forth. You know, people just like me, where I'm like, yeah, the writing's kind of hacky. Let me show you how it's done and so forth. And like, you know, you have no idea what like their publication deadlines are like. It's schlock because they churn it, right? And they churn it because like they're like hardcore fans will just read anything, and like the volume is more important than anything else. Yeah, I'm reading through. I think William Hill is the name of the thing. William Hill wrote this series called Troll Slayer, which is about a dwarven berserker and his twink nobleman that adventures with him. And these are great stories, right? For the first book. And then the second book, they're okay stories. And like I just got to like the third book in the series, and I put it down, and I probably will not pick it up again, and so forth. And that really is what like needing to stretch something out and writing outside of your passion looks like, right? And so it's very difficult and demanding and so forth. Like the people that write, you know, Star Wars spin-offs and so forth, they receive tremendous financial benefits for doing it, but they're almost entirely passionless after somebody's done like 3 of those, and they're just trying to get a paycheck and so forth. It's hard, man. And you know, like nowadays, all this is just going to be generated by AI. Like, give it 3 years, and like, no, every human author will have killed themselves. Intrigued, soldiers and adventurers trekked for leagues to see the battlefield where the Diamond Drake was slain. They continued north through Goblin Country, eager to witness the thousand-scarred hide of eager to lay eyes on the thousand-scarred hide of Burback Breakbow. The berserker was too stubborn to die. Burback refused to stay abed and roamed the halls, itching for a fight. No one was... roamed the halls of Black Boar, itching for a fight. No one was fool enough to oblige. To the surprise of all, dwarves from Shining Peak began to arrive. For centuries, the mountain dwarves had run their abiding routines. Dwarvish tradition ran deep, past custom and into compulsion. No. Dwarvish tradition ran deep, past custom and into compulsion. In the great forges, whispers of the war filled the space between wheezing bellows and clanging hammers. The foremen and their lords took no notice, but the last-born and low-ranked began to slip away. One by one, they quit their posts, collected their treasures, and slipped to the surface. In the unkind light, they squinted east, cinched their packs, steeled themselves. Ooh, I think I can't have all four of these things in the sentence. In the unkind light, they squinted east, cinched their packs, and set off for Black Boar. Yeah, let's... To their surprise, the newcomers were accepted by the kin they'd banished ages ago. There was a fortress to be built. Look at this. We're talking about things being closed off, paragraphs about things being closed off. We are tapped in to the fabric of the real, my friend. This is going to win. The mighty call rang across the realm. High elves woke from their millennial slumber and abandoned their sacred glades. Moon elves voyaged from afar, unable to explain the strange stirring in their souls. They barely dared to hope, but once they arrived, it was undeniable. They barely dared to hope their dreams might be true. Once they arrived, it was undeniable. This needs a comma. So normally, in regular writing, I would never include they barely dared to hope their dreams might be true. I already got it. Haha. Zapped. Great magi and seers met with Bobbert. Unable to believe a mere boy scarcely able to believe a mere boy could bear the mantle of the reconciler. The memory of Abaxios Osloon was tragedy upon tragedy. The reconciler had borne witness to every catastrophe of old. He'd battled empires that existed before history, walked beside gods, and loved and lost so profoundly that the young apprentice felt like an ant perched atop an elephant. Hey homie, can I share your stream in a Kick community to help hit 1,000 followers, 800 viewers, and earn $1,500 per stream? Add me on Discord, Freaky6. Yeah, that sounds like somebody with that level of influence would be bothering people to add them on Discord. What are you, stupid? What an idiot. Oh, who falls for this nonsense? It's garbage, son. All right, there we go. I mean, they don't know, you know. I'm sure that there are children that bite on that all the time. Let's see. The reconciler had borne witness to every catastrophe of old. He'd battled empires that existed before history, walked beside gods, and loved and lost so profoundly that his young apprentice... This is a long sentence. Abaxios had loved and lost so profoundly that the young apprentice felt like an ant perched atop an elephant. Against such splendor, Bobbert sometimes forgot that Abaxios rode... Abaxius. Mm-hmm. He had loved and lost so profoundly, comma. No, there's no comma there. Against such splendor, Bobbert sometimes forgot that Abaxios rode upon his soul and not the other way around. He listened as the elven magi urged caution. They were wise, but he could not follow their sage advice. The need was too great, and the time was too short. The choices he made here would echo on for thousands of years. Okay, a banger chapter right here. So, this is kind of introducing the alter ego of the Reconciler, which is, let me see. Yeah, it has like his bird spies and talks about what's happening with the campaign. This does a lot of work to like forward the fantasy thing. Um, all right, and then we go back to snap back to reality. Look, there goes gravity. The telephone in the isolation room was an old Harvest Gold Western Electric rotary. The nurses swabbed it with Cydex every day. The handset smelled like burnt vinegar, but it didn't matter. It could have been covered in thumbtacks and fire ants. Robin would still pick up. No price was too high to talk to someone other than his abuela. The phone rang and Robin pounced on the receiver. Senor Martillo, por favor. Duncan, what's up? ¿Qué pasa? Lots of pasta to you too, bud. How are you doing? Is the fever better? Yeah. Yeah. It was pretty hairy for a few days. I'm better now. One more week. Better now. Better now. Bam, 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 bam. It was pretty hairy for a few days, but I'm better now. One more week and I'm out of the bubble. That's good. Everyone's missing you. I'm proud to report that Black Boar still stands. Did anyone try to attack it? Just one. Guess who? So, Bill's back, huh? No. Yeah, we don't need the so. Bill's back, huh? Bingo. The Dark Lord returned, and the Gorelord horde tried to besiege the boar immediately. I can't remember if I made Brackacack back. Brackacack back. Let's go up. It's in this chapter right up here. Let's see. Yeah, okay. So we do capital there. I like that we tell the story in the chapter before, and then we give the take of the boys on like what happened with the story, and like it weaves in. I really like the way that these are layered on top of each other. It works. Bingo. The Dark Lord hath returned. Brackacack back. Mm-hmm. And we actually did all that work for nothing, because it doesn't fit in the sentence. The Dark Lord hath returned. The Gorelord horde tried to besiege the boar immediately. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. The Dark Lord hath returned, and his Gorelord horde tried to besiege the boar immediately. They got absolutely mollywopped. I can't believe I get to use mollywopped, and I think it is period appropriate. Hold on. Let me just make sure that this is not like completely inconceivable within Google Ngram. Mollywopped. No valid engrams to plot. Oh no. Widely recognized as slang derived from African or American vernacular English with roots in the southern and eastern United States. Etymology. So people know of it from the Fresh Prince of Bel Air. To mollywop someone is to bludgeon them with a phallus. To deliberately hit someone with your hand. First inception during the 1980s, somewhere around the San Francisco Bay Area. All right, so it's plausible that somebody said this in 1979. I'm just gonna go with it. Robin cawed. The laugh hurt his throat. What happened? Vlad happened. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Da, da. Oh, Agatha does not know that we are editing. He could be in here getting points, but he's unaware. I highlighted him earlier. This is his own fault. Vlad happened. To attack Black Boar. Mm-hmm. Agatha does know, but he's working. Aha. Agatha doesn't know. Turn your lights low. All right. I'm also working. While I'm working, it's the joy of double billing. Vlad happened. Who made rules for attacking Black Boar? Besiegers have to fight in a 3-turn rush against a random opponent from the top 4. Bill rolled a 1. How unfortunate, Robin grinned. Vlad was ecstatic. Bill's charge cracked up against the shield bearers. The bonus for being close to Dwarven-made fortifications is insane. Once the charge broke, the whole battlefield was just one big... Once the Gorelord charge broke, the whole battlefield became a shooting gallery for the Hawkmoon. Bill resigned at the end of turn 2. I don't think anyone else will try to besiege Black Boar anytime soon. Black Boar. I like Black Boar, so it sounds more like an arsehole. Tell Vlad I said thanks. How did Bill take it? He turned purple. I almost had to give him another week-long vacation. Is it weird with him back in the club? Nah. We're used to him acting the fool. Once he cools down, he usually feels bad for being such a doofus. I think he really regrets flipping out on you. You can tell him I don't care. It's just a game. Tempers flare, you know. Still, you don't have to put up with that. I can't wait till you're back so we... I can't wait till you're back so we can play adventures again. Wait, you're not continuing the adventure without me? No, of course not. Vlad, Chuck, Sandy, and I talked about it. We'd rather wait until you're Betty. Until you're Betty. What does he know that I don't know? Mm-hmm. No, of course not. The guys and I talked about it. We'd rather wait until you're better. I think we had the perfect crew. Oh, you know what? Let's not do that. So here's the thing. In real life, he would say the guys and I, right? But I want to like reinforce who the crew is there. Vlad, Chuck, Sandy, and I talked about it. We'd rather wait until you're better. I think we had the perfect crew. Ah, you don't have to, Robin said. Secretly, he was thrilled. It won't be that long. School's almost out, and the summer will just be getting started when you come back. It's going to be so awesome. I've got some gigantic battles planned. You want to hear the news of the war in the north? Hit me. Oof. I'm sad to report that Sandy's redeemed Windsworn are getting slaughtered. JC is... You got it. I'm sad to report that Sandy's redeemed Windsworn are getting slaughtered. JC has been on an absolute tear ever since he added that black-handed one to his roster. No one can get through his warp storm to reach the Summoner Coven. The demons flood in and it's game over. JC isn't even fielding Slish Slish now. The combo is that strong. If only I made that roll to stop the ritual. Has JC faced against Vlad yet? Not yet. We're taking bets on how it's going to go. JC keeps telling Vlad he's going to mount Blackaba's head atop his chaotic standard. Vlad just smirks like he's got some secret weapon. Any idea what it is? I have a few ideas. The biggest thing is, if JC's on a win streak, he's probably... If JC's on a win streak, he's probably insufferably full of himself. Confirmed. It'll make him sloppy. Vlad can capitalize big time. No doubt. Goblins seem really weak against chaos, though. They are, but only if you field a regular army with huge mobs of low-morale goblins that are vulnerable to... Those huge mobs of low-morale goblins are vulnerable to demonic infestation. If I were Vlad, I'd take an all-elite list with a Gorelord detachment. Then I'd use Gutter Blood Fanatics as a front line and hit his bat flank with Blood Fiends. They'd overrun the Summoner Coven. I bet JC is too chicken to field Slish against Vlad. He'd have no way to bail them out once the Fiends get in once the Blood Fiends get in melee. So this is this is like a page of them just talking about strategy of a fantasy war game that doesn't exist. So it might be too much. Wow. That might work. I didn't think of using Gorelord. I didn't think about using the Gorelord. They seem so weak this season. They'd be a lot stronger under competent leadership. Haha, burn. Okay, so actually that reminds me of something I wanted to ask you. You can't share this with the other guys, all right? I'm a vault, Robin declared. It was an easy thing to promise. Duncan was the only one who called. So, my master plan for the campaign was to build towards this gigantic showdown in the Valley of Six Mists, right? The 2 goblin hordes roaring across the river, naval combat, beach landings, all of that. Yeah, it sounds wicked. Oh, wait, where's the okay? God. Oh, there you go. So tired of okay. Alright, so okay is already aside. Mongolian throat sing. Oh. Oh, my precious dog. Oh, look at this hound. Hello, cutie. Say something to the people, please. Hello. Hello. Oh, she's a sweetie. Hello, pup. Say hello to your fans. Oh. What a cutie. Oh. Hello, buddy. You don't just have to lick me every single time. Hello. Ooh, she's like doing her death metal. All right, down with the dogness. Get up and come on, get down with the sickness. Open up your hate and let me flow into me. I told, she's like, if Mashies was a dog, just to name her with you. Well, I'm like hanging out with her all day, every day. She just sits beside me while I'm working. She gets petted all the time. She's my homie. And then the golden is just like hanging out upstairs like, when are they going to take me to throw the ball? He's a G though. He's very kind to everybody in my life. Yeah, I feel bad actually because he's spending so much time alone. And he's so happy to see me every time I come up there. But I can't have him in all the equipment just because his fur would get everywhere and break everything. It really is. He sheds so bad, man. And I'm like brushing him every day, and it's just not enough. I need to not buy long-haired dogs again. I feel bad because normally there's like 20 relatives here to keep them whatever. But yeah, I'm glad that we have the dog camera. It helps a lot. I'm a vault, Robin declared. So, my master plan for the campaign was to build towards this gigantic showdown in the Valley of Six Mists, right? 2 goblin hordes roaring across the river, naval combat, beach landings, all that. Yeah, it sounds wicked. Problem is... it's kind of a foregone conclusion. Everyone knows that Bill can't beat Vlad, except Bill. There's no tension. I need to change the game plan and put together a battle that isn't so one-sided. Could you team Bill up with a stronger army? Him and JC together might be competitive. That was actually my first thought. The problem is, Bill and JC aren't speaking to each other. Again? What is it this time? Literally an argument over Star Trek? Oh, God, Robin snorted. That can't be for real. Uh, so it's really a choice here to have God be lowercase. Bill thinks the uniforms in the trailer for the new movie look stupid. I hate to say it, but he's kind of right. They're space smocks. JC doesn't agree, and now they're bitter enemies. All right, so this is them arguing about the first movie where they had those stupid uniforms. You know what I'm talking about? Wow, a conflict for the ages. Sectarian violence is always the bloodiest. What about your new arcane beasts? No can do. They're not officially released yet. Vlad would throw a fit. Plus, I think they might be a tiny bit overpowered. A tiny bit? Like when the Phantoms marched right through my troops and slaughtered my backline? Yeah, that. Just a smidge. The other problem is, after his antics, nobody's going to be thrilled to team up with Bill. I think I have to bite the bullet here and play one of my old armies. Maybe the dwarves. Story-wise, how can you have dwarves allied with goblins? It's a tough sell, but my other armies are also order-aligned. I've got my old Imperial Legion and Paladin Cavalry. They were so good. They were so good a couple seasons ago. You would have loved playing dwarves back then. Bulwark of the Ages used to stack with Bones of the World. No, wait. Okay, so both of these need to be italicized because they're maneuvers in the game. And this is just like trying to... this is how game dudes chat in my humble experience. No way, that's insane. It was. Pretty much won the season for me. Imperials have always been pretty average. Paladins wound up being more fun to paint than play. RSI doesn't make them anymore. I'm not sure any of them are strong enough to save Bill from himself. Robin thought about it for a moment. I agree. One isn't enough. What if you sent them all? Ooh. I love it's just really cool to see them like scheming in the background and like setting up the campaign, and then you're gonna get to see it play out, written in like this fantasy narrative and so forth. I will tell you, I like hate isekai stuff and like portal to another world stuff, and generally it's just so whack. Nothing against people that write that, but just as a conceit, I find it like super whack, and I really like how the structure of this thing lets us have like this cool fantasy narrative in what maybe this is like one of the last fantasy books that I write as I get older and less whimsical. No, that's not true. I have at least 2 more science fiction fantasy books that I need to finish and get out the door. No, let's not call it thumbtacks. But anyhow, I'm just really happy with. And it was so hard to get this structure to work, even sort of right, but it's really cool. Let's see. Why not a Shadowrun setting? So, yep, and this is I do not like fantasy like mixed with technology and all that stuff. I can't read any of that, right? So the book I'm reading right now, as soon as the dwarves are like building an airship, and I'm like, uh, this is like a stupid joke that's in here, right? Where he says "Que pasa?" and he says "Lots of pasta to you too, bud." Is completely retarded. But also I made it through the whole day without paying any money to the Leukemia Foundation. Well, I'm gonna give them $1 just because I feel bad for them. I love that ping. So out of the kindness of my heart that I don't even owe them, I'm going to give $1 to kids with leukemia because it was a good session. I can't believe I made it through the session without cursing. This maybe the first time I've ever done that. $36 I am paying to them. All right. Well, I suppose I have to go work. But yeah, I don't like when as soon as you put in guns and so forth, I am out of your fantasy scenario. I don't like you. Um one one exception to that is there's a book called like I think it's 1632 or something like that. Where like a West Virginian coal mining town gets set back in time to the war. Which war was it? It was like something like the Teutonic Wars or something. Yeah, real tight. Not a lot of things to bring up. Yeah, yeah. I've edited these particular chapters. Got like lots of additional editing and rewriting because they're so important. Let me see. I just think it's insanely stupid to have lots of pasta. But anyhow, yeah. So I can't get with it, right? I need my fantasy to be fantasy and my sci-fi to be sci-fi. Which is crazy because when I eat food, I just throw it all in one bowl and mix it together, right? But yeah, just really like all the steampunk, all the horse hockey knocks me right out of the book, and I'm just like, nah, let me read something else. Let me do something else. I don't like it. All right, well, Logic, thank you for your assistance in making this happen. Thank you to everybody who tuned in. I will try to do. I'm like very pumped for this. I'm gonna try to do another stream later today, possibly, and then we have the show on Friday. It's on like the Quran, boys, and we are steamrolling towards. Like if we did chapter 38 and 39 and so forth, we'd be almost 2/3 of the way done with this thing. Oh yeah, and these are actually good chapters here. So they're Una chapters up next, and those are not hard to edit. All right, thank you all. Have a good luck today. Let me go